power and wealth above all else. A housewife is a man who stays at home while his partner goes to work. His job includes everything that traditional housewives usually do, plus general home repairs, car maintenance, and lawn care. The homemaker's wife may occasionally help with cooking and/or childcare, but mostly those things are taken care of by the husband. I'm not sure I would have survived this job if it had started when my 3 children were young. We were a family of modest means, so all the kids went to daycare while my wife and I tried to make enough money to maintain a middle-class lifestyle. Once my kids entered high school, my wife enrolled in an MBA program because her employer reimbursed the cost of tuition. This meant I had to do more to keep the household afloat while she studied and took classes online and in school. I didn't mind the extra work because I knew the MBA would allow her to advance her career and earn a higher salary. Amy's MBA program was geared toward full-time executives, so it took almost 3 years to complete. By then, the kids were off to college. Fortunately, all 3 were very good students and qualified for several scholarships. Still, 3 kids in college is a huge financial burden. I worked for a small family-owned manufacturing company as the manager of the accounting department. I was paid a fair wage, but nothing like the CPAs of large corporations. Amy's hard work finally paid off, and she was promoted to Executive Vice President of Product Development at the multinational insurance company where she had worked for over 15 years. The new job meant she got a substantial raise, a car allowance, an expense account, and a share of year-end bonuses with everyone else in the corporation. Her new, unexpected good fortune couldn't have come at a better time. The economy had taken a sharp downturn, and my employer was particularly hard hit. They struggled for almost a year, and then sold the business to our main competitor. The new owners, wasting no time, gutted our facilities and closed the plant. The new owners offered me a job at their plant, but it was 300 miles away. The salary would be a little less than what I was making, which was about 1/3 of what Amy was making, not including bonuses. I had no choice but to give up my job, and just like that, I was unemployed. I tried to find a new job and quickly realized that no one in our area was going to hire new workers until the economy improved. John, it's not the end of the world. I'm doing fine. We have enough money in college funds for the kids to finish school, so don't worry so much. I know, but I've worked all my life. I can't just sit around. Oh, don't worry. I have an extended list of expensive things to do that you've never had time for, so you won't have to sit around, she said with a smile. That's how it started. I became a stay-at-home mom at the age of 48. Amy's list was really extensive, and it took me the better part of a year to complete all the home improvement projects she suggested. As soon as I completed the house, she began the very labor-intensive landscaping projects. While I was working on our home improvements, Amy continued to climb the corporate ladder. She was promoted to senior EVP, and her salary was increased significantly. She loved her job and was highly respected by the other swells. She was often invited to parties and social gatherings where she socialized with the most influential people in town. Of course, I was required to accompany her to many of these events. I'm not sure when it first started happening, but very slowly I began to realize a change in the way Amy treated me at these events. At first, she insisted that I be attached to her, while she fluttered around having short, meaningless conversations with all the important people. Gradually, she began asking me to serve at our table or sit at the bar, while she worked the room. Soon I was spending most evenings entertaining the boss's wives or just sitting alone. Things finally became unbearable for me when she took me with her for the weekend to a beautiful resort. The first night she left me with my wives and was gone for almost 3 hours. The next day she informed me that she had several meetings with other top managers and board members. She said the wives had planned a spa day. Okay, fine. What am I supposed to do all day? I can't hang out with the women while they're getting mud baths and stuff. I don't know, John. Go camping or something. I have important things to do and I don't have time to entertain you. I held my tongue. I knew she was a little tense, but I swore to myself that this would be the last time she dragged me to one of these events. Okay, don't worry about me, I'll be fine. I ended up hanging out by the pool and at the little tiki bar next to it. I had just finished my second gin and tonic when I saw a few people come out onto the elevated terrace of one of the large conference rooms and take seats under umbrellas. I recognized Amy. She was accompanied by a tall gentleman with a sophisticated appearance. He put his hand on her waist and pointed to one of the tables at the edge of the terrace. I watched as they sat down and pulled their chairs closer together. He put his arm around her shoulders as she snuggled against him. None of the others approached them, and I watched as she kissed him gently on the cheek a few times. He smiled at her and leaned over to whisper in her ear. She giggled and slapped his arm while he laughed. This went on for 30 minutes. Then they got up and went back inside with everyone else. I went over in my head what I had seen. They were certainly much cozier than two married people should be with someone who is not their spouse. I noticed that they were only mildly concerned about their co-workers seeing their overly friendly behavior, which made me wonder what might be going on behind closed office doors. Although I had gotten to know all of her co-workers, I wasn't familiar with the guy she was with. I assumed he was a board member, but I had to check that out. I headed back to our room to pull out my laptop and do a little digging. It only took a few seconds to find a picture of Stephen Swenson, the chairman of the board of Mega Insurance Corp. Stephen was married to Margot Davis Swenson, daughter of William Davis, former director and founder of Mega NZ Corp. Now that was interesting. If anything, Amy is playing with fire. Old Stevie had married the boss's daughter, and her daddy was still the majority shareholder of the corporation. That night, Amy sat next to me at dinner. She chatted with several other EVPs and seemed to be enjoying herself. I talked to Diane, the trophy wife sitting next to me. I was surprised to find that she was attractive and had a wicked sense of humor. I enjoyed chatting with her and casting quick glances at the impressive cleavage she was displaying. After the tables were cleared, the lights dimmed and the music played. Amy took the moment to lean into my ear and explain that she would be dancing with a few of her co-workers. Those were the first words she'd said to me in over an hour. She didn't wait for my response, got up and headed to the dance floor with some guy. Diana spoke up. "You better get used to it. Us spouses are usually ignored in these things." "I can't believe your husband left you unattended amongst all those alpha males." She laughed. "I'm sure he's off dancing with the wife of one of the board members, trying to ingratiate himself as much as possible. He just assumes that some minor bigwigs will ask me to dance, and I will dutifully sing dithyrambs to each of them." "Oh, well, perhaps before you begin your task, you could do me the honor of dancing. That is, if you are not too embarrassed to be seen with the EVP's consort." She grinned. "You're about 20 years younger than my usual dance partners, so I expect you not to drool over my cleavage." "I'm not promising anything. The cleavage is certainly drool-worthy, but I'll do my best to control myself." Diana pressed her magnificent breasts against my chest as we danced. I managed to keep from drooling. Our dance was interrupted when her hubby intervened and then took her away only to hand her over to his boss. I think he wanted her to place her assets where he thought they could benefit him. I sat at the table and watched Amy dance with several board members before settling solely on Stephen Swenson. After their fourth or fifth dance, the orchestra took a break and she and Swenson walked over to his table. I thought about leaving but decided to watch a little longer. At one point, Amy looked in my direction and saw that I was sitting alone. A few moments later, she walked over to the table and sat across from me. "John, this must be really boring for you. Why don't you just go back to your room and I'll come over later after I've cleaned myself up?" "Ah, well, the orchestra is marvelous, and I'd hate to end the evening without at least one dance with my lovely wife. If you could squeeze me in line." "John, this is business, important business. Now please just do as I ask and we'll talk about it later." She got up and walked away. I stared after her. I was fired. This idiot actually said to me, "Go to your room." like I was a naughty child. I was furious, but I had no reason to just sit there and be ignored. I waited a little while and then got up and left. I didn't want to sulk in my room, so I went to the little bar next to the resort lobby. It was quiet, and I needed to reevaluate my situation. It was clear to me that Amy was or would soon be involved with Swenson. I wasn't going to put up with that, but so far, I had no evidence of any wrongdoing on Amy's part. I sipped my drink for a while and decided to get this evening over with. I walked back past the event hall and looked inside. Amy was on the dance floor, pressed up against Swenson. His hand was low on her back, but not quite on her ass. I asked one of the staff members how long the band would play until, and he said they would finish at 11:00 and the hall would close at midnight. I must have dozed off a bit as I sat in bed watching TV. The lights were out, but I could clearly see that the clock was showing 1:20 when Amy pushed our door open. She was carrying her shoes and sweater. She must have expected me to be asleep because she ahed when I turned on the side light. Her hair was disheveled and her lipstick was gone. I looked her over from head to toe and she blushed thickly. I thought you'd be asleep. I've only had 3 drinks all night. I'm pissed, not drunk. You want to tell me where you've been? You know where I've been. Dancing. I told you I needed to dance with my coworkers and show up in public. It's all part of the game, John, she said as if she were talking to a slow-learning child. Try again first. The orchestra left at 11, wow. So what have you been doing for the last 2.5 hours? Talking to Swenson. Margot's in Europe with her mother, so he's here alone. We went back to his room and talked about his plans for the company and how he thought I might fit into those plans. So you just spent 2 hours talking in his room and left me to my own devices. Then you sneak in here with disheveled hair, no lipstick, and heels. That must have been some seriously tedious conversation. Think what you want. I need a shower and some sleep. We have another half day of meetings tomorrow. Oh, I told Steven I'd go to dinner with him tomorrow night. We have to leave in the morning, and your meeting ends at noon. What the hell are we going to do before dinner? She dropped her shoes and put her hands on her hips. You're going home. I'm going with Steven back to his lake house for dinner. So you're leaving at noon to spend the day at his lake house? When do you expect to be home? I don't know. If it's too late, I'll just come back Monday morning. Damn it! You're not doing that. You're going to spend all day and all night making love to that asshole and then come home to me. First of all, I never said anything about making love to him, and second of all, this is my house, not yours. It belongs to me. I just stared at her with my mouth hanging open. When I finished all the work on the house, Amy refused to use her annual bonus to pay off the construction loan. She insisted we refinance the house. Since I was unemployed, I didn't have a mortgage, and Amy insisted that I not be part of the act if I wasn't on the mortgage. It pissed me off, but we planned to move soon after I finished all the improvements. I just assumed I'd be back at work by then and in the process of decorating the new house, so I let it pass. She stood there with her hands on her hips, a smirk on her face. I got out of bed and started to get dressed. I grabbed my suitcase and threw it on the bed. I jerked the drawers open and started stuffing my clothes into the suitcase. Now what? Are you going to run away? Where are you going to go? You have no home, no job, no money. So where the hell do you think you're headed? Amy, I'd rather sleep in my car than let you get away with this affair. I'm not gonna be your cuckold. I will divorce you. You stupid dude, you got nothing. Your ass belongs to me. I make all the money. Without me, you'd be on the street. Now stop being a big baby. I have to discuss this with Steven tomorrow, and he's backing me for COO. That will double my salary and triple my bonus at the end of the year. I'll be able to buy us a really nice house in an upscale neighborhood. I don't want another house. I want a faithful wife who cares about me and us and our marriage. Please, Amy, don't give in to him. You don't have to do this. You can get a job on your own without making love to him. Amy shook her head, looked down at the carpet and muttered, "Too late." That's when I realized she'd already slept with him. I was already a cuckold. Her plan for tomorrow was about the same. I looked at her in disgust. You slept with him? Oh my God, you killed us. Don't be stupid, John, we can have it all. So I made love to him, no big deal. A quick shower and I'm good as new. It'll all be over by Monday morning and we'll be ready for life. It's just part of the game. I know you'll forget all about it in a few days. I shoved the last of my clothes into my suitcase and slammed it shut, grabbed my jacket and ran out the door. I jumped in my car and drove off. My phone beeped and chirped. I know I should have been heartbroken, but mostly I was just numb. As I drove, the traffic thinned out. I turned on the cruise control and leaned back in my seat. I thought back over the past 6 months and realized that Amy had started to change shortly after her first promotion. She had been consumed by ambition and the desire to be recognized as an achiever. She now prioritized power and wealth above all else. She no longer valued love, loyalty, family, and fidelity. It was now all about her, what she could achieve, the power she wielded, and the money she made. The realization that she had changed and was no longer the sweet, loving, caring woman I had married filled me with sadness. I wiped away a few tears as I mourned the loss of the woman I had loved for 20 years. Monday morning, I woke up full of dread. I called a lawyer who had worked with me at my old job. He gave me the name of a family law attorney, and I called the office and told him I was seeking a divorce. Mr. Dixon, Ms. Hawk usually only represents women who are at a severe disadvantage in a divorce, mostly housewives with unfaithful husbands. I'm not sure why your lawyer gave you her name. I am a housewife. My wife is a high-ranking executive and an adulteress. There was silence for a moment. Oh my God, this will be a first for her. Can you be here by 11:30? I walked into Sally Hawk's office at 11:20. Her secretary had a big smile on her face when she greeted me. I waited about 20 minutes before an attractive, short, dark-haired lady entered the reception area. Mr. Dixon, I'm Sally Hawk. Please come into my office. I told her my story, and she took notes as I spoke. So, you've been a housewife for about 2 years? I lost my job when my employer sold the company and our business was shut down. My wife had just gotten a big promotion and I couldn't find a job in my field. She convinced me to stay home and make improvements to our home. She planned to sell our house once I finished all the remodeling and buy a bigger and better house. Wait, so it was her idea for you to become a stay-at-home mom? Yes, she liked that I cooked, cleaned, did laundry, and set up the house while she was free to pursue her career. Great. So, when did you first start to suspect there was a problem in your marriage? Honestly, I only recently started suspecting that she was cheating, but looking back, I think it probably started almost a year ago. She confessed her infidelity last weekend, which is why I'm here today. Mr. Dixon, I'm sorry this is happening to you, but I promise you'll get through this, and I'll make sure you're treated fairly in your divorce. Now, you said your wife confessed to cheating. Do you have any proof of that? Did you record her confession? No, I didn't. From what I've observed, I assume most of her co-workers know what she's doing. Okay, while there is no fault in this state, I would like to get some evidence of her adultery to use as leverage in a settlement agreement. Would you mind if my investigator did a little poking around? I use Masters investigations. Jack Masters is an old friend of mine, and his people are very reliable. Of course, I think I should take some money out of the bank before it freezes. I believe you have a joint account? Yes, a small household checking account at Chase that I use. Most of our money is in a managed portfolio that is jointly held. She has several accounts in her name only. Okay. When we are done, go to Chase and withdraw everything but $1. Go and deposit the money, but don't tell me where. I'll have her investment account frozen and demand all her assets be disclosed. I was just leaving the bank when I got a call from Jack Masters. Mr. Dixon, Sally Hawk asked me to call you. Do you have a moment to talk privately? I got in my car and locked the door. Yeah, I'm in my car. I parked outside the bank. Sally gave me most of the details. My people will start gathering information this afternoon. What are your plans? Are you planning on staying in the house? I can't afford to move out until I cash out some of our investment funds. Well, you can't make her leave, so I suggest we move to another bedroom and install a secure lock. I can have someone do that if you'd like. Also, I want to install some surveillance equipment in your house as soon as possible. I'm heading home now. I'll stop, pick up a set of locks, and be home in 40 minutes. I installed the lock while Master's team installed some tiny cameras in the house. I moved all my clothes into the room farthest away from my old room. I was really happy that I had separately installed a small bathroom when I remodeled the upstairs. Early that evening, my phone vibrated, alerting me to traffic in my driveway. The new camera gave me a clear view of Amy getting out of the limo, but I couldn't tell if anyone else was in the car. The driver took the bags inside and then drove off. I was in my new room, watching the split screens on my laptop while Amy walked around the house calling out my name. She walked into the master bedroom and looked around. When she opened my empty closet, she exclaimed, "Fuck!" She peeked into the bathroom and then walked out of her bedroom. A few moments later, she jerked the knob of my door. "John, are you in there?" "What do you want?" "John, honey, please open the door. Why is all your stuff missing from our room?" "Your room. My room is here now." "John, really? Why on earth would you move out of our room? Now stop this foolishness right now and let me in." "No, you're not welcome in my room. Go take a shower and wash off your lover's stink. I'll meet you in the kitchen when you've cleaned up." I heard a sigh, and then she stomped away. On my laptop, I watched her undress as she headed for the master bathroom. I walked out into the hallway and locked my door before heading down to the kitchen. I was on my phone watching what was going on in the bedroom. I shook my head as I watched her first put on her bra and then shed it to put on a t-shirt. I knew what she was trying to do, but that didn't stop me from watching her impressive rack bounce as she came down the stairs and approached the table I was sitting at. "There, all nice and clean as new. So, are you happy now?" "Happy? Are you kidding me? I may never be happy again. You made love to that asshole. You destroyed us. I'm done with you." For just a moment, she looked shocked, then angry. "Now you listen to me, John Dixon. Nothing has changed. Nothing's gonna change. You need to get over your stupid, jealous sarcasm and stop being like this." "Yeah, I slept with him. Big deal. So what? Who cares? I made love to him and now he has to vote for me when I run for chief. It was business, nothing more. Now go and move your stuff back into our bedroom." "How many, Amy? How many what? What are you talking about? How many others have you slept with? Were they all for business? Or were a few of them just for fun?" "What? How can you ask me that? Stephen is the only one in the world and you know why I did it with him. He was okay, but nowhere near as good as you." "Really? I'm a little surprised you can even remember what it's like with me. I mean, let's face it, it's been a long time since I made love to you." "That's not true." Amy stopped and tilted her head to the side. "We made love. It was just—" Her voice trailed off. "If I'm not mistaken, you slept with me pretty hard the night your last promotion was announced." "But that was about 6 months ago. Of course, it's been quite a while." "Oh my God, John, I'm so sorry. I've just been so caught up in my work. I'm sorry, baby. I'll make it up to you, I promise." "You promise? You mean like on our wedding day when you swore you'd leave everyone else behind? Is that the promise you're making to me? Well, if it is, forget it. I don't need any more false promises." "Damn it, John. You've got to forget it. My connection with Stephen is over. It's in the past. I admit I was too obsessed with winning his support, but it's over. Please come back to our bed. Let me make it up to you." "Thank you very much for your kind offer of sloppy seconds, but I will decline. I'm pretty sure you slept with him again this morning, and even if I made you take a shower, it wouldn't make a difference. So again, no thanks." "Fine, be an asshole. You can just stay in your room. I don't need you for love. There are plenty of guys available to me. Maybe I should get all the men on the list into bed. Heck, I could be principal in a couple weeks." Amy turned and stomped back up the stairs. Sally went over the notes of my conversation with Amy. She told me to be polite and avoid her. After only 3 days, Jack's guys were able to determine that Amy had probably been doing something inappropriate with the head of HR and with Stephen even before she was promoted to SEVP. But there was no proof. The report confirmed my suspicions that she started cheating when she got her first big promotion. I hypothesized that if she cheated to get a senior EVP and to get a shot at the COO position, what was she willing to do for a board seat? She was clearly willing to use her body to get whatever she wanted, and I just couldn't live with that. I asked Sally to be served. Jack's guys found Amy's offshore account, and Sally forced the release of all of Amy's payroll information. For the past few years, she had asked for some stock options in lieu of a pay raise. Sally assumed that Amy planned to gradually build up her stake in the company in order to gain a seat on the board of directors. Sally was true to her word. I got half of our stock portfolio and some cash from Amy. I'll also get half the value of the house when it's sold. So, after paying off Sally, I received about $600,000 in cash and stock. The house was appraised at $650,000, so Amy will owe me about $300,000 when it sells. I won't be rich, but I won't starve. Sally must have thought I was a normal guy because she introduced me to a recently divorced lady, Carol Hillman, who had gotten a small manufacturing company from her cheating husband when he ran off with his accountant. Sally helped Carol realize that she didn't need a husband, but she desperately needed a good accountant, and she hired me after her first interview. I had been working for Carol for 3 months when she asked me to analyze her finances. I helped her figure everything out and even filed an amended tax return to give her a $3,000 refund. She invited me to dinner as a thank you, and I readily agreed. After dinner and 2 bottles of wine, Carol told me she was lonely and needed male companionship. At 55, she was still an attractive woman, and I hadn't gotten any other offers, so we became love buddies. It wasn't hard to keep our special relationship a secret from the other employees. Truth be told, I think I'm falling in love with Carol. I believe she's falling in love with me too, so I'll have to talk to her soon. About a month after my divorce was finalized, Amy was nominated for the position of executive director, and Stephen gave the board a verbose speech about how wonderful she was. Shortly before the vote to approve her promotion, an anonymous email arrived on the phones of all the board members. It contained Amy's voice, saying she had slept with Stephen for his endorsement. The board voted to reject Stephen's recommendation and bring William Davis back as director. William's first act in his new old position was to fire Stephen, his soon-to-be former son-in-law. The second thing William did was to put his daughter as executive director. As CEO, Margot Davis called Amy Dixon into her office and told her that her services were no longer needed at Mega Inzers Corp. I was sorry to hear about Amy's failed career, and I sympathized with Amy as I walked down her lane in the marketplace. Other shoppers were as shocked as I was when Amy burst into tears and started throwing groceries at me. The manager fired her on the spot. Gosh, it sounds like she's really having a hard time keeping her job. The end!